For our business, we were looking at an industrial popcorn machine, and after looking through numerous ones on Amazon, we decided to go with the Great Northern Popcorn Red Roosevelt antique style popcorn popper machine with an 8-ounce kettle. Here I am unboxing it and wanted to show you how well it was packaged. So as we open this up, we're going to take a look at how well it was securely put into the box. In some of the reviews I read, the glass sides came broken, and I was concerned about that. And yet, as we open this up, you can see that they have done a great job at packaging the machine so that the corners are braced well, and it came in perfect condition to our home. So I was very happy to see that. The machine itself weighs 36 pounds, and so I was grateful my husband was able to lift that out of the box. Otherwise I would have had to cut the box itself in order to get the machine out, because I just didn't have the strength to straight lift it out of the box. So we're hoping with this machine, in order to make enough popcorn so when customers come, we also provide drinks, and we thought fresh popcorn would be a nice treat to provide to our customers. So these machines are advertised as being commercial quality and feature stainless steel food zones, easy cleaning stainless steel kettles, heated warming decks, old maid drawers for the unpopped curdles, tempered glass panels, and an industry-leading 8-ounce kettle operating on 160 watts. They say that you won't find a comparable one on the internet, and with its unique style design, you'll be able to reminisce about your early days at the ball game, carnival, movie theater. They've combined the best of both worlds. If you're getting today's technology, you're also getting an eccentric design with the convenience of the modern era. So here's a quick look at the instruction manual. Ours did not come with the cart. What we did look at here was how to put on the doors. That was the one page that we needed to spend some time on, was how to put the doors on and how to install the kettle into the machine properly. So now we're going to open up the first box, and I'm pretty sure that this box is what contains the 2 glass doors. So you did need a little bit of scissor work in order to get the box open, but it really was nicely wrapped and not too hard to get into. Now the styrofoam was keeping those doors tight. There was also a piece of styrofoam, as you can see, in between the 2 doors, and they were sort of interlocked with each other, and so they were nice and protected and came in perfect condition. Now we're going to take the doors, sort of slide them apart from each other, and then the next thing is to line up the doors and put them into the slots. Now there was a little bit of an indent you had to line up with a tab on the door and then slide it down, and it just fit on there nicely. Then there's a little bit magnet strip on the top so that the metal part sticks to it and stays closed. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the other door. Just line up the dot on the top there. You can sort of see where there's a little indent there, and they just line up nicely and slide in. Now, while the reviews mentioned that the doors didn't fit on properly, mine fit on properly right away with no adjustments needed, which was nice to have as well. This next box that I'm unwrapping is the one that's going to contain the kettle inside of it. Now, one of the reasons why we chose this machine was that it had an 8-ounce kettle. It also is 860 watts, and it's a stainless steel kettle. With this purchase, they also include 3 plastic serving cups, and there is a scoop for both your popcorn and your other ingredients, and then a silver scoop to scoop up the popcorn, and 50 serving bags. So let's go back to the kettle here. So the pan that's dropping out there below is actually the reject kennel tray that's going to catch all the rejects once they've fallen down into the bottom of the machine. So we're going to take a moment and just go put that in. And one of the things that we realize when you put that in is it doesn't quite slide in perfectly. So you do need to push it down so the back end lifts up, and it still slides in, but it was just a little bit of a trick in order to get it to fit in perfectly. Back to the kettle, and now let's go line this up and put it in the machine. So the red handle needs to be facing the outside of the machine, and now it's going to line up and put them into the spot. Now this is going to require another person to help you because you can't see what's happening on the back side of the machine. You try to feel it with your fingers, but it took my daughter sort of guiding me as to what direction, up, down, left, right, in order to get it to slide into the spot. And it did take a little bit of effort, but really, when it came to the grand scheme of things of getting it set up, this was not hard at all. Just took a little bit of patience. So the next step in the process is to plug the cord from the kettle into the machine, and that's done on the roof as seen here. One of the features I liked was the kettle pivots from 2 points attached to the ceiling, and so it's quite secure. The next thing is to make sure that the gear on the top of your kettle is lined up with the gear from the machine, as that will ensure that the paddle spin when it's turned on. Lesson 1, how to make great popcorn. So the first step in making your popcorn is to make sure that your machine is plugged in. In order to have your popcorn taste great, it's important that you also use the right ingredients. So the first that you're going to need is coconut oil. Now you can get butter flavored coconut oil that has a yellow tinge to it, and that will create the yellow popcorn just like you did in the movie theaters. We didn't have that. I did have coconut oil, and so we followed the first measurements that we found online as to how to create the great ratio. But I did tweak it a little bit later on. I'm going to tell you what we ended up doing to create the correct amount of saltiness that we prefer. So that was a 1/4 cup of oil, and then 1 full cup of popcorn seeds, which seemed to be a lot, but we just tried to give it a go because that's what we found online was the great measurement. So this model is the deluxe model because it has 3 control switches instead of 2. And the switches include a spotlight warmer, a stir, and the pot heater. So the first thing you want to do is turn on the built-in warmer light, then turn on the pot. Now you're going to add your coconut oil and make sure that the pot heats up enough. And that is the first trick in order to having great popcorn, is to make sure that the oil is heated before you add the seeds. So we're going to take a quick peek inside so you can see how it's spinning, and the oil is going to begin to melt here. Now remember that this pot can get extremely hot, and so you do not want to touch it with your fingers at all. And now the next step is to add the flavor cull or the salt. This is theater style salt, and so the measurement on it said to put 1 tablespoon, and I just felt like that was way too much salt, so I did less, as you can see. And when we ate it, it still tasted a little too salty for my taste, but we decided to follow the steps and the ingredients the first time through, and then we're going to adjust it per our taste afterwards. A tip I've learned since doing this is to make sure that the oil is completely melted and starting to bubble before you add your popcorn seeds. That will ensure that more of the seeds get popped. I was pretty excited for its maiden voyage, and so I put in the seeds when it wasn't quite ready to add. So just as a pointer, if you're doing this yourself, to make sure that the pot and the oil is heated through and starting to sizzle before you add the seeds. So one of the reviews talked about the smoke or steam that comes from the machine, and there was concerns about that. This is a hot kettle with hot oil, and so there is going to create a lot of steam and a lot of heat that's going to come out. It's okay if it's doing that One way to help your popcorn is if you're brave enough to keep those front doors open so that the steam can release and then your popcorn stays nice and crisp. So one thing we noticed was that this machine pops out a lot of unpopped kernels that seem to go to waste. And I don't know how you can fix these lids from opening up and just letting it come out. So one thing we did do was to put in less popcorn, because the lighter amount of kernels in there, the less it's going to overflow drastically and have a lot of unpopped kernels. So the next batch we did, we have reduced the amount of popcorn seeds, and so it has a chance to cook more into the kettle before and not lose so many uncooked kernels. That is one trick. You might have to do more batches, but if you do smaller batches, you will not have as much wastage on your kernels.
Okay, first batch of popcorn. Let's see how this tastes. Now it just needs some fresh melted butter on it.
Okay, so the first batch, I don't think it was heated up as much, but that's how much seeds and popcorns, and I tried to push it all into there. So we're gonna try different amounts and see if we can get a better ratio and have less unpopped seeds.
So what we love about this machine is that it looks like a professional movie popcorn machine. It makes popcorn the way they do at the movies, not with air or in a microwave. The warming light and tray is amazing. It keeps that popcorn nice and hot, and so you can make up a few batches and put them in bags and then store them in the machine under that nice light and keeps them still warm and fresh. It's been a great hit at our business, and people are already buying popcorn. When they see the popcorn machine, they're excited that we have that to offer and have enjoyed the great taste of movie theater popcorn at our business. You need to note that the popping does take a few minutes, and there will be a bit of smoke as the oil heats up and a bit of steam as it pops, but it smells wonderful while it's cooking. You can buy pre-measured packages of popcorn. That's something that we've chosen not to do, but it does make this process simpler because the amounts are already pre-measured out for you. Another thing to note about this machine is it's big. And so you need to check the dimensions of the machine before you order it. It's not a little tiny countertop popcorn machine. This is a substantial size. One batch is enough for our family of 4. Another feature I liked about this specific popcorn machine was that because of its dimensions were bigger, it allowed lots of space around the kettle itself. Now, in some of the smaller ones, the kettle is quite tight, and so you have a hard time getting into the machine without touching the kettle. And so with this larger sized one, I found that it was quite easy to scoop and get the popcorn out without touching the kettle itself, which is something you need to be cautious of when it's hot after you've done a recent batch. And also, before you clean those sides of your machine, make sure that the kettle has cooled completely. One way I like to clean it is by taking 2 microfiber cloths. One cloth I take and use hot water, soak that cloth. Sometimes I use a little bit of vinegar in it if I feel like it needs a little extra cleaning, and then wipe down the sides of it with the wet microfiber cloth. Once that's been wiped down, then I take the dry microfiber cloth and also wipe down the sides. Doing those 2 things keeps the sides of the machine, both inside and out, looking clean and sparkly and clean. Just a little tip and trick, keep your machine looking like it's brand new. Hope you enjoy your popcorn machine. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying content that I'm putting out, please subscribe to my channel. I enjoy getting to know each one of you as you comment below. One thing I would love to find out from you is, what is your favorite flavoring popcorn topping? Mine has to be white cheddar. What's yours? Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week.